Happy New Tax Year! You see, it's that time of the year where we should be saying Happy New Year. Or rather, all of Nigerians will be saying Happy New Tax Year. It's clear the tax law is going to operate in this year, 2026, whether you like it or not. And honestly speaking, it has its good side and it has its bad sides. There's a whole lot to it. But with this whole tax story going up and down, we must not deny the fact that there are benefits to it. And as I said earlier, as well as there are disadvantages. So here in this video, we are going to talk a whole lot about this tax of a thing. You see, so many Nigerians have had heart attack. They are not really happy that the new year is coming because of the tax. And I would say the problem out there is ignorance, and not really ignorance per se, but I would say we've not understood the pros and cons to this tax matter of the thing. Nigeria is changing its tax system, and see, a lot of people will be caught off guard. If you think the tax law doesn't concern you, this video might be the most expensive one you might lose this year. I'm telling you. Let me explain. Under the tax law, ignorance is not an excuse. You don't get fined because you committed fraud. You get fined because you don't know. The good news is that you don't need to be a lawyer or an accountant before you know what affects you. Once you understand the basics, you have avoided most tax problems. This video will not give you big grammar. I will give you clarity. Just clarity. The tax law is not forgiving. It's not forgiving. Yes. Well, that being said, I'm a law student and I study Nigerian law. This channel exists to break the changes down in simple details, simple English that business owners, students, freelancers, young professionals can explain. If you don't want to be confused in 2026, subscribe, like, and share. Alright, that being said, the purpose of this video basically is to address the misconceptions. There are a lot of misconceptions going on, the advantages and disadvantages. Believe you me, wherever there's certain things, there's usually advantage and disadvantage to it, and it's quite unfortunate that what is being spread around is the whole disadvantage to every single thing. So yeah, we're not taking sides, we're just enlightening the public, enlightening the best way we can, you see. All right, so one of the basic misconceptions that has been going on all around is the taxable income and what you're paying. Like, we'll generally talk about it. This video is just basically for generality's sake, just talking generally on the basic things that every layman needs to just know about this new tax law. Because honestly speaking, everyone will be taxed. Either ways, everyone is going to be taxed. The poor, the middle class, the rich. The first thing to note is the fact that the taxable income for the general Nigerian is 800,000 naira. And I said 800,000 naira annually. So if you're earning 800k a year, not a month, because most people have been saying a month, but the law expressly states that it's annually. So if your salary is 800k or your profit is 800k a month, a year rather, you'll be paying tax. You can't run away from that. But if it comes to business, it's small businesses and all of that their profit is below 50 million and below will not pay tax. Now, here's the misconception going on all around. If you calculate your money at the end of the month, when I talk about 800k earlier, roughly you should be earning around 67,000 or nearly 67,000. Let's say 60 something thousand a month. So when you see that as your salary, you are free. You will not pay tax. So aside that, the ideology going on around and the misconception is that because if you get to earn 70k or you get to earn maybe 100k, definitely you get to pay tax. No, the law expressly states that it's called taxable income, which is the income that you have after tax relief have been deducted. There are some tax reliefs that have been stated in the law. Tax reliefs are those things that they will not be indicated, taken away from how much your income is, and the rest of your income is what will be taxed. Basically, you could be earning 100k a month, and at the end of the year, 1.2 million. And I'm telling you, you will not pay tax, because by the time these taxable incomes have been taxable reliefs have been deducted, you will not need to pay any tax. So that's one misconception that is going all around, that once you earn more than that particular amount, then you need to pay tax. No. But small businesses will get to pay 50 million. Small businesses that their profit weight is 50 million and below, they're not paying tax. One of the major things that this new tax regime, or advantages that come with this tax regime, is that there's a lot of things going on. That's why this video is for clarity that we ignore, is the fact that when you are small businesses, you are not paying tax because the ideology of the government is that they want you to grow. There are certain taxes because this tax law has not been very well known. A lot of Nigerians evade tax. A lot of Nigerians don't pay tax, and we've become used to it. So a lot of people are evading. The thing about it is that you could have a particular person can have a business, somebody else is having another business, right? This person is paying tax, this person is not paying tax. Why? Because the former tax laws were very difficult to track. In fact, they were so ineffective because if you are not paying tax, it's difficult to track you. So now it's more like equality for all. Everyone is paying tax. Now, because everybody is paying tax, no other person is exempted from it. You're not exempted. I'm not exempted. So that's just the basic ideology behind the proportion that everyone should pay. So these small businesses have been paying taxes before. Yes, but in this regime, you are not paying tax at all, which means all the VAT, whatever payments that has been made, small businesses are not paying any tax. Well, that's not talk of local government levies and all of that, which we're going to talk about later. But you're not paying tax at all, which means that every tax you've been taxed earlier on, you're not paying them again. Even individuals, tax that being deducted from your salaries, they're not being deducted anymore. So the ideology is to make the poor grow, right? That's the ideology. I'm not really let's say standing for it, but that's the basic ideology of the tax law. So in areas concerning we are going to talk about the tax reliefs, and that will be in subsequent videos, not this particular video, but nonetheless I'm going to mention them because I've talked about them. And they include loans, they include the national housing fund, national health insurance, your rent relief. But quickly I'll talk about that rent relief. So if your rent is between you get to get 20% discount, so to say. So 20% out of your, for instance, let's say your rent is so amount, so they would remove 20% to be deducted, then the rest will be added to your taxable income. So 20% is your rent relief for your rent, at least either the equivalent of 500,000 up to 500. So you can have a rent relief of 500,000. Rent is below 500k, you are free. You will not pay tax. But not everybody is living in 500k house. Like some of us here, not everybody is living in 500k. So, but if you're living in more than that, you have at least up to 20% discount. So that's the clean part of the rent reliefs. So another thing I must notice is that this is that time of the year where you start to document everything. Most people, like myself inclusive, and so many of us, we don't put narrations. If I send in money as I bought something, purchases, because purchases are one of the things that you will not be on your tax. Purchases, gifts, which I'm going to explain expressly in subsequent videos. Mind you, the purpose of this video is just mere introduction on the new tax law that is being enacted. So these are just basic keys that you just need to know. Now, it's one of the major things, as we mentioned, is these days that you must put narration on every of your transaction. I'm sure that will be difficult for many of us, like myself. It's most of us forget. You want to buy something. Narration are those statements you put. Maybe I transferred money to someone. The only purpose for which I put what they call it, narrations, is so that I can remember when I'm like, okay, where did this money go to? Where did this money transfer to? And where is this money coming from? That's just the purpose. But now it's a necessity. So if you gift somebody money, write it, gifts. If you give somebody something, write it, honorarium. If you bought something, write it, purchase. So that this will not, because by the time you are checking your accounts, bank account statements for the year of the money going in and out, you would have defense, right, for it, and they will also be able to know that, okay, this for purchase, this for that, this will not be among your taxable, what will be taxed. So let's start putting narrations in everything. We are going to explain the importance of this narration in other videos, but please don't take it for granted. Remember that for every transaction you must have your document. This is the age of documentation. This is the age where you pay more attention to your money, because honestly speaking, they are waiting for you to falter. For every penny you spend, just have your receipt, have a document, have something that you keep your OP receipt for safety's sake. You see, a lot of people are going to decide not to pay tax. Not like decide not to pay tax, but try to evade tax. That I'm not the only one now. Nigeria can't be that serious. You get. It's a simple advice. So things are different. Things are way different than they used to be. Just go and declare your business, how much you are making, how much are your profits. Do you know why? Because the government would come and knock at your door and tell you what looks like your tax, which doesn't even look like what you earned. In other words, let's take for instance, at the end of the year, your money is 5 million naira. With personal business, probably you sell stuffs and you also in salary. Based on your account, maybe you have a transaction of at least let's say 20 million or or thereabouts, or to a certain extent. The government comes to you and say, sister, your tax is an assumption now, 5 million naira, and all the profit you made from that business and from everything is not even up to 500k. And they'll say that based on everything we are seeing going on and all of that, we've been watching you, if you have to pay 5 million as tax. Now it will be things on approximate level, like it will be on the basis of approximate level. So if you don't want to pay much more, it's better you go and declare every amount you're making in terms of your profits, every amount you're making in terms of how do I put it, whatever you're making, just declare it to the government, even as a business, just for the sake of saving yourself from spending more. And sincerely speaking, this is also that time where you need to get accountant. Just get an accountant, that not just an accountant, but either ways that can check, help you in terms of your calculations and all of that, how much you should tax, and get good advice on your money. If not, like they say, ignorance is not an excuse in law. And if you think education is too expensive, try ignorance. It's not always nice. All right. So quickly, the advantages of this of the new tax law. Like I mentioned earlier, these tax laws have been existing. It's just that they were roughly implemented, so to say, or there was difficulty in it because many Nigerians were not even aware of it. Now, the difference between it is that everyone is paying tax, which is tax harmonization. Everybody's paying tax, unlike before that some people are not. That does not mean that local government will not collect their levy. So I mentioned that earlier. Then it was before, I think formerly in terms of businesses, it was 25 million naira for small businesses, but now it's 50 million. And like I mentioned, if you're making up to 25 million naira and more, you pay tax. But now it's 50 million on a higher level now. So that's just, let me say, the benefit part of it. And what's even more interesting is the fact that it brings about transparency. I understand that it brings a lot of discomfort to us Nigerians, everyone, every Nigerian, because something we're not used to. It brings a lot of discomfort, but the benefit of it is the fact that it brings transparency. It's a check on corrupt officials. Normally, it's difficult to catch as easy as we think it is, because we believe that this corruption is existing and that the government is not focusing on them. There are difficulties in even catching thieves. But now, everyone, corrupt officials, what have you, whatever they are, everyone has to declare their asset. You have to declare how much you are earning before the taxman comes at your doorstep. So it's very easy for the EFCC, whatever crime bodies are out, Nigerian crime bodies are out there to fish into people's, so-called privacy. Yes. So it's now easier for them to check. So take for instance, I'll give an instance. I have a business, right? And I have a salary. At the end of the year, I'm earning at least 500,000 naira. Or not even 500. 500,000 is too small. Let's say at the end of the month, 500,000 naira. But let's say as a whole, at the end of the year, with business and all of that, it's about 20 million naira. And I'm having, driving cars of about 50 million, buying house in Banana Island, I'm having other kind of things that look, suspicious and all of that, because these are what I've declared as my businesses, right? And the government is well aware of how much I'm paying as tax, so they are well aware of my profit. So they believe that, okay, this is how much this is what you're supposed to have, it's what you're supposed to drive, this is what you're supposed to do. Not like they are dictating on what you're supposed to drive, so to say, but they are like saying that there's a kind of expectancy and all of that this is it. So if it's not, if you are going more than that, the government can now come and check and say, okay, are you sure these are the only businesses you're, and note that the fact that you're not declaring accurate asset is a crime. Is a crime. The fact that you're not declaring all the businesses and the money you are making. So that's crime number one. Plus, which is including the fact that the person is operating some, having certain things. So it already creates a kind of fishy atmosphere where the government can, fish out corruption. Makes it easier for them to, get corrupt officials. There'll be more transparency and there'll be less wasteful incentives. So, it also prevents tax evasion. Many people don't know that tax evasion is a crime. It's a crime. And this time around, if you don't want to be, send the criminal, please just pay your taxes. Let's not argue too much. Let's just try and understand, because irrespective of our how do I put it now, irrespective of how we feel dissatisfied about it, it's better to get educated about it even first. And that's the purpose of this video. Now, there's what we call the value added tax, and one research that was done was to check what Nigerians spend money mostly on, and which includes food, transportation, education, health, rent. That's why you don't get to pay VAT. That's your value added tax on these things anymore. I mean anymore. So in other words, people who are paying for food, right? All your VAT will be refunded back to you. This is one of the advantages, honestly, of this new tax law. So if you buy food, if you run a farm business, you pay 0 VAT. And every VAT that you incur on education will be funded back to you. I'm telling you, all you just need to do is to keep your documents. Just keep your, whatever VAT you incurred, they'll return it back to you. Yes, every VAT on all the equipment you spent. You see, people paying for bread. It's bread is seen as a nation's food. It's general food. It's seen as food. That will be returned back to you. If you are manufacturing bread, if you're making bread and all of that, all of your VAT will be refunded back to you. Sometimes when we go to the market to buy something, personally, it's a personal experience, and I see that I've calculated how much I'm supposed to spend, and they are giving me receipts and asking me to. I'm like, what happened to this money? Yeah, and I see VAT. It says, well, no problem. But now, guess what? No more VAT. So, yeah. And I must also mention that service providers like lawyers, lawyers to be like myself, and lawyers out there, you get your VAT paid and refunded back to you by the government. All right. In subsequent videos, we'll also explain the meaning of VAT as a whole, because the purpose of the video, like I mentioned earlier, is to make it as simple as we can. But just know that you're not paying tax VAT again. Those VAT is to add at the end of your goods when you go and buy goods. Those extra tax, you'll be wondering where are they coming from. You're not paying again. And I was also mentioned one very interesting controversies that were going on. The government mentioned that everyone is paying tax, like basically everyone. So the question was, Ron's girls, that's the prostitutes, are they going to pay tax? And guess what? Even though they are illegal, they are still paying tax. So the idea, the ideology in it, basically looking at it, even from my own standpoint, is that it does not look like you're encouraging it, right? You're frowning at something, rendering something illegal, and at the same time, you are also permitting it by allowing them pay tax. One of the arguments, I won't say arguments, but I would say one of the explanations that we're given was the fact that, whether we like it or not, there are a lot of illegal businesses out there, and if we only tax businesses that are simply legit, under the law, the illegal businesses begin to even thrive even more. So as long as you are making profit, just pay the tax. And in fact, it now makes it very easier to shut down illegal businesses and catch them. So that's just it, to make it as fair as it can and as fair as possible. So I guess for now we've come to the end of the tax education on the Nigerian the new tax law for this video. Subsequent videos would explain more. These are just general overviews, just general information that you just need to know, and subsequent videos will be very well explanatory and a whole lot. And that being said, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying till the end, and I really appreciate you. So, if you want to reach out to me for questions, you have suggestions, you have a whole lot of things to certain things to reach out to me, you can reach out to me via my phone number. It will be placed on the screen's WhatsApp line, and you can also reach out to me via my email, which will also be seen on the screen. All right.